Alright guys, so we were talking about modules last time, I do believe. How to flowchart a module. That is correct, right gang? The bars, okay, so the way a module works is you define it, you have a DEF statement, and then you have a module name, a function name, and then inside the parentheses you have any parameters it needs. And then when you call it the same way, except obviously without the DEF statement. But you call it by name, followed by the parentheses. It runs over it and invokes that module, does everything that's in the module, and it comes back. Just like, you have a subordinate, and you go tell them, run to the downstairs office and bring you up some paper, right? So they run to the downstairs office and they bring you back some paper. So I want to play with modules a little bit. We're going to go back and do some more turtles. So I'm going to launch idle. If you'll feel like typing along, that's cool. So when we do this, do not save your program as turtle. If you call it turtle.py, it won't work. So I'd name it after the lecture day or something like that. Apparently we're on H. And I just saved the shell rather than do a file new. So I got to do a file new and then do that again. Save as, lecture H. All right. So as always, we want to just describe what we're going to be doing. Today is the 26th. Indeed it is. Turtle example modules. Alright, so the very first thing when you're using turtle is you have to import turtle. That's why we can't call it turtle.py, because if we do import turtle and our file name is called turtle.py, it tries to import itself and nothing works. Alright, so I'm going to put a little bit of code in here. We're going to draw something, but then we're going to modularize it. So how about a draw triangle? Because it only takes 3 angles to draw a triangle, so that's pretty easy. But what I want to do is I want to put, well, firstly, I haven't even made the turtle yet, so let's do that. What's the turtle going to be called today? I like Leo, or Fred. Today's turtle is called Fred. Fred is equal to, and this is all lowercase, turtle, dot, and then a capital T on the next one, turtle, and don't forget the closing parentheses. So Fred equals turtle, dot, turtle with a capital T, open paren, close paren. And we could set the background, we could set the turtle's color and his pin thickness and stuff, all that, but we'll just roll with what he's got. To make sure everything's okay, why, go further if nothing's going to work? I'm going to make him go forward 100, just to make sure. So Fred.fd, or if you like spelling it out, forward. Only problem with spelling it out is a lot of people miss R's or put in extra R's or something, so here we go. I'm going to run it just to make sure it works. Alright, it's working. Hope it's working for y'all. Alright, to draw a triangle, we're going to go forward 100 and then we're going to turn 120 degrees. So left 120 degrees. How do I know it's 120? Because it's got 3 sides and 360 divided by 3 is 120. Alright, and then I'm just going to copy and paste those 2 lines, right? Because it's got 3 sides. So copy. Paste, paste. And let's make sure we have a turtle on the screen. Yeah, alrighty. All right, now there's some lame stuff going on here. We have all these numbers hard-coded into the program. They should be variables. These are unnamed constants. They're so-called magic numbers. We want to make variables that hold them. This is the length, and this is the angle. So, what's a good word for length? Size. Size is equal to 100. Angle is equal to 120. Now replace every 100 you see with the word size. I'm lazy, so I'm going to come and copy the size variable and replace every 100. Now, you saw what I did. If you just double-click the number, and then you can paste it. I like Control V, or Command V for the Mac users. All right, I'm going to do the same thing for angle now. I need to replace all these 120s with the word angle. The reason we're doing that is so that if we decide to make it a different size, then we don't have to change 100 everywhere. We can just change it in one place. And also it's going to help when we modularize it. All right, to see if that worked, I'm going to change the size of it to 50. I want to see a smaller triangle work. There we go. Are we all good so far? Or do I need to slow down? I see some hands still typing. We should make sure we're doing good. That last one should have been a dot left. I don't know why you typed out FDs, because I was moving over your shoulder, making you nervous. Alrighty, now if I wanted to draw more than one rectangle, I could copy and paste and copy and paste and copy and paste. I'm not going to do that. That's kind of lame. Besides being lame, it's a waste of programming, and it's inefficient. And it makes the code much harder to maintain, because what if I wanted to change the way the rectangles were drawn? I'd have to change it every time I copied and pasted. So I'm going to define a module called triangle. So DEF triangle, parentheses, and we better pass in these variables. I'm going to call the size parameter SZ and the angle parameter AN, just kind of to abbreviate it, make it easier to type. I shouldn't do that. Change it back to size and angle. My mistake. Size, comma, angle. And then take all this code and shift it over one. All you got to do is highlight it, and you can hit the tab key, or you can come up to Format, Indent. Bops it over one. And the book likes us to put return statements at the bottom of all of our modules. It's only necessary if you're returning a value from the module. We're not, but why not make it look like the book wants? All right, I'm going to run it, and I'm going to see that I've broken the code. It doesn't draw a triangle anymore. The reason being is that we defined the triangle, but we never called it. It's like I drew up your task list. I was going to send you downstairs to make some copies for me, but I never actually gave it to you. I never invoked it. I never told it to run. An interesting thing is, though, is if I run it, it goes ahead and defines a module. I could call triangle right now. Triangle, make it a little bitty. 10, 120. And if I come back over here, it should have drawn it. Okay, an itty bitty one. Now I realized something dumb that I did, that I didn't mean to do. If it's a triangle, its angle should be hard-coded to 120. It should be set to 120. We shouldn't be able to pass it in, because if you tried to draw a triangle, but you said 90 degrees, right? It's going to draw part of a square and then stop. This program's not smart enough to draw a 90-degree angle and then just adjust the other angles to match. We kind of need to do that, but we're not going to do that. So I want y'all to make a couple more changes. And I'm sorry for making that mistake. But you see everything after the comma here, after size and angle, we're just going to delete that. And then we're going to cut this angle equals 120 and we're going to paste it under the DEF. So we're going to highlight all that, hit backspace, highlight that. You can delete it or cut and paste it. I'm just going to delete it and retype it. Come down here and angle equals 120. Now why did I do that? Because we might make another function called square. And it's going to need a 90-degree angle. We don't want to pass in 90 degrees into our square function. Now we could make a generic function where you specify the number of sides and it calculates the angle. Alright, let's see if I've gotten it to work. I'm going to delete a few blank lines. Come down here and do triangle. Parentheses in parentheses. But that's not good enough. I need to pass in a size. This is going to be a syntax error when I run it. So, size is going to be 100. Really, I should delete that line. That size is no longer of any use to us because it's being passed into the module instead. We're saying we want it to 100. So it would ignore that 50. So let's just delete that line entirely. It'll work if we don't delete it, but we like to keep our code as easy to understand and clean as possible. Alright, it worked. I'm going to show you how you would revise this so it worked with a loop. Whenever you have something that's being repeated like 3 times or more, you ought to make it a loop. But I'm just going to make it a comment, I think. Or why not? Why not make it draw the loop? For x in range, parentheses 3, colon. That's our for loop, and it's going to count 0, 1, and 2. So it is 3 numbers. It just starts at 0. So I'm going to put out here as a comment. So for x in range, parentheses 3, into parentheses colon, and my comment's going to be is that it goes from 0, 1, and 2. And then just copy these two statements and paste them under the for loop. But since it's under a loop and it has a colon in front of it, we're going to have to tab it again. So copy forward and left, come over here, paste them, and then tab them over one, right? Anytime you have a colon, you got it. The next line has to be tabbed. That would make this work even if this was all deleted. I could delete that or comment it out, and the for loop's still going to draw the triangle because it's going to go forward, it's going to turn left, and it's going to keep doing this while the x counter increases. So it's going to repeat 3 times. Instead, we're going to just see it draw the triangle again, right? Good enough. Nothing wrong with that. But if you don't like seeing it draw it twice, highlight all of these FDs and lefts and go up to Format and choose Comment Out Region. Or just go and put a tag, a hashtag, a pound sign in front of them all. When we choose Comment Out Region from the Format menu, it adds 2 rather than 1, but that's fine. We could even delete all that stuff. And if you don't want to get it to work with the for loop, that's fine. The code worked the way it was before. You can just delete it if it's giving a malfunction. Alrighty, we know how to call triangle by using its word. But let's turn 120 degrees and draw another triangle. And let's turn 120 degrees and draw one more triangle. So I'm going to come down here and do triangle. Wait, I need to turn. So triangle dot, why not right rather than left? Right 120 degrees. And then I'm just going to copy those 2 guys and paste them. More efficient. So I'm going to draw 3 triangles on the screen. That's my goal. blew up. Function object has no attribute right. I goofed. It's not triangle.right. What's the name of our turtle? We're trying to turn the turtle to the right. The turtle's name is Fred. I'm sorry, guys, but rather than make y'all change it 3 times, I'm going to completely retype it. You don't have to do this. You just need to change those second lines of each pair. But Fred's going to turn right 120 degrees. So Fred.right, parentheses, 120 in parentheses, and then copy that and then paste it. All right, now we have kind of a nuclear warning sign. We could have made that a loop too, right? Anytime you see code that's been copied and pasted, it's repetitive, it's a loop. What if we don't change 120 degrees? What if we make it just 60? Well, that's kind of neat, but we'd have to do it 3 more times, right? So it's really begging to be put in a loop. Why don't we do that? Let's put it in a loop. So just like the one up here, it's going to be a for statement. Delete these guys because we're only going to need to repeat that code once. So delete the second and the third copy. And let's write a loop that counts up to 6. It's going to go from 0 to 5, so I need to put 6 inside of the range. And then I better stop and go back and help. So for, and make sure it's backspaced all the way, even past the return statement. So for x in range, parentheses 6, colon. And then I'm going to put a comment saying what it's counting from 0 to 5. Then take those next 2 statements and tab them over. Like that. All right, that's pretty neat. What would be even cooler, and I'll contemplate whether we're going to do this or not, is to make it so like you could put a 20 in there and it would just adjust the angle to match. Right, because if you're going to draw 20 slices, the angle is going to be different than 60 degrees, right? It just turned, you know, a little bit. But I need to pause this, make sure everybody in the class is doing okay. All right, I really think I want to make the change to where we can specify how many triangles. So we're going to need to declare a variable that'll hold that 6, right? So that we can change it easily. I don't know what to call it. Num underscore try, right? Num underscore try equals 6. And I'm going to put a comment here. So pound sign number of triangles to draw. And then where it says 6, replace that with our new variable name. I love me some copy and paste, so I'm going to copy that num underscore try, copy it, come over here to the 6 and paste it. We should increase the speed. All right, but it replicated its behavior. I'm glad to see that. Let's set it for a higher speed. So above num underscore try, I'm just going to do Fred.speed. 10 is like fastest unless you set it to 0, which is faster still. Let's see if 10 is fast enough to make so it doesn't seem to take forever. Yeah, I like that better. So what if I tell it I want 12 triangles? I'm going to change num underscore try to 12. All right, it's drawing 12, but it's not really doing what I want it to do, which is just turn a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. So The way you calculate that angle is you take 360 degrees, like a total circle, and you divide it by the number of triangles you want to draw. So I'm going to make this 360 right there, but I'm going to then do slash for divide, and then I'm going to paste this variable name in again. So 360 divided by num underscore try. Yeah, nifty. We could even put that in a module so that we could repeat that code anytime we wanted. I'm feeling like doing that. Let's, then I better do another walk around. What are we going to call this? Draw flower? Draw, give me a suggestion for a name. Something that's going to draw the repeated triangles. Oh, I can't think of one. So def underscore mult, M-U-L-T for multiple, underscore try, parentheses, end parentheses, colon, and then just take all of those lines and tab them over. We have to tab them because we have a colon. We need to make them all part of the same module. So I'm going to click up here and hit Format Tab, or you could just click the Tab key. Format Indent. All right, now it's not going to draw anything. Now I want somebody to tell me why it's not going to draw anything. I broke the code. What did I do that broke it?
Do we have to call it again?
Exactly. I'm not calling anything, right? I just created my list of instructions, but I never handed it to anybody to do. So mult underscore try, parentheses in parentheses. I'll get it going. It'd probably be neat if we passed in the size, right, so that we could draw larger ones and bigger ones. But I'm almost thinking that we've drawn, that we've taken this one to its logical extreme. How about something that draws circles now? Same idea. Number of circles, right? So how about defining another one? Now usually I like to define all my modules up before any of the code. But anyway, so I'm going to put this define circle above mult try. So make sure, even if you're typing right now, look up here and see what I did. I'm pushing mult try down to the bottom. And I'm going to do def space and then mult underscore circle. Draw multiple circles, or at least mult underscore circ. Define mult underscore circ, parentheses in parentheses. And then num underscore circ, I could just call it num. It's good enough. We know what we're doing. Num is equal to 6. How about 6 circles? And the code's going to look remarkably like this, but instead of calling circle, we're going to call, instead of calling triangle, we're going to call fred.circle. But I guess I'll type it out again anyways. So remember this is all indented to make it part of the mult circ function. For x in range, parentheses num, in parentheses colon. Now let's draw a circle. So the circle command is already part of the turtle library. So all I have to do is tell Fred to do it. Fred.circle, parentheses 100, in parentheses. How big a circle we want. And then for Fred.write 360 divided by num, just kind of like we did here, except we changed our variable name. So Fred.write 360 divided by num. And again, that's because we have 360 degrees to make an entire shape, a polygon or a circle or whatever. But we want to cram 6 things into it. Like if we wanted 3, it'd be 360 divided by 3, which is 90, not 90, 120 each time. Alright, I forgot to put the statement that's going to call the circle function, so it's not going to even draw any. Let's put that in there. I added so many spaces that my call to multiply is off the screen. I'm going to put it back. And either above it or below it, call mult underscore circ, parentheses in parentheses. It draws the triangles first. And it didn't do anything. It didn't draw my circles. That's a surprise. I'm going to comment out. You don't have to do this while I'm debugging it. I don't know what the fix is going to be. It's got an error. Mult circ is not defined. Well, what did I call it? Oh, I called it mutil. Well, we don't want to mutilate our circle. Mult, M-U-L-T underscore circ. See, and then I should have copied and pasted. I'm always telling you all to copy and paste. So I'm going to copy that, paste it here just to make sure I get it right. And I'm sure it's right, so I'm going to uncomment out that. Maybe it worked for everybody. Maybe I was the only one who made the typo. Alright, so that 100 was the radius of it. Maybe we want it to be smaller. We could change those hundreds to a smaller number, right? If you want to draw itty-bitty circles instead of drawing a 100. And again, we have magic numbers here, right? We could pass this in as a parameter. I'm going to make itty-bitty circles, though, like 20. I just changed that 100 here in the mult circle function to 20. Takes a lot longer to draw a circle than anything else. Okay, I think that's pretty cool. I think the last time we played with turtles, or maybe it was the other class, I had you all draw one that did squares. Let me make sure everybody's got it going on. Alright guys, if it's not working for you at home, check the code that you've uploaded. Well, let me delete all this stuff and just scroll past slowly. You can pause it as you need to. Alright, so we have our import turtle. If that's not working, it's because you have a turtle.py file in your directory. Fred equals turtle.turtle, and then you have a triangle function like that. Pause if you need. And then I set the speed of it to 10. Didn't have to do that, but it gets boring watching it. And then we have a def mult try. If you called it MUTL like I did, fix it. Then we had a mult circ like that. And then, so here's that function. And then we called it. Now the last change I'd like to make for it is to ask how many triangles and ask how many circles. So to do that, we're going to need to go up and put it up at the very top of the code. And the reason for that is because as soon as we run it, it covers up our little shell with this window, and they won't see that they're supposed to type anything. So tell you what I'm going to do. Let's delete that line and delete that line entirely. The number of triangles to draw. Delete this line entirely. Num equals 6. Because we're going to go and we're going to define them up at the very top of the code. So up here, even before we make Fred the turtle, let's ask them how many circles they want and how many triangles. So num underscore try try as in Y, although that'd be nice, equals input, parentheses, quote, how many triangles, question mark, space, end quote, in parentheses. Then we better convert it to a float. Num underscore try equals float, parentheses, num underscore try, in parentheses. Same for number of circles, which I recall just calling num. In retrospect, that's a bad name, but it's easier to type, right? Num equals input, parentheses, quote, how many circles? End question, excuse me, question mark, space, end quote, in parentheses. And then turn that one into a float as well. Num equals float, num. Num equals float, parentheses, num. Like that. Alright, then we're going to run it. How many triangles? Why, I just like 2. I'm boring. How many circles? 4. And it blows up. What do you know? Alrighty. What this is telling me is that I should not have turned it into a float because the range statement doesn't want a float. The range statements have to be an integer. I did not intentionally make that mistake, but it's an easy one to fix. Change the word float in both places it appears to int, int. So come back here and change float there to int and change that one to int. So this is our new code up at the top even before we create Fred. Fred is equal to turtle.turtle. Pause it if you need to eyeball it. How many triangles? 2. How many circles? 4. And I can't see my code, but if I tab over here somewhere, I'm going to find it. There it is. I wish it had shown up in the top. It's doing what it's supposed to do. It's just hiding it behind our main window. I'm dissatisfied with that change. I don't like it hiding it, so I'm going to comment that out. We're going to just set it to whatever numbers we want. So back over here, highlight those 4 lines and comment them out. Don't type them in again, just comment them out with forward comment out region, or just by hand you can go in and add a pound sign in front of them. But we do have to have those variables even if the user's not going to type them in. So num underscore try is equal to 6. Num is equal to 3. Now those variables are kind of abstract, and I'm going to put comments on them. So this is number of triangles, and this is number of circles. And I'm terribly dissatisfied with that as a variable name, but I don't know how to fix it, because if I did a search and replace, it would also change that one, right? I could just go through, and find each one and change it by hand, but I'm pretty sure I would mess y'all up if I did that, so I'm going to leave it as a bad variable name. Alright, it works. You could change those numbers to anything you wanted. 1 each for the world's most boring drawing. Yeah, baby. 4 each. And we're going to draw this to a close. Alright, I like it. The only other thing that would be cool to make modifiable is the size, right? The size should not be a magic number down there at the bottom, like that 20. That's a stupid thing to have there, and that 100 is a stupid thing to have there when we could declare them up here at the very top. But I'm willing to leave it. I'm willing to leave it. I should make a homework assignment that does that, but I'm actually going to make this extra credit. So if you typed all this stuff in and you upload it or you watch the video, that's extra credit. Since I accidentally told more than half the class not to be here by trying to tell the other one. So I think we're done for today. We'll make a Dropbox called Lecture H and we'll upload it. Are there any questions? I probably need to scroll up and down for some of y'all, but we're ending a little bit early, so there'll be time to put it back on the screen. Any questions? Was this the coolest thing since sliced bread or even cooler? All right. Go find Dropbox H.